So, a warm welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming today in this first day of winter. Today's conference is the sixth edition of Warsaw Economic Hub, and the objective is to have a look on the position of Poland at the moment and think about the prospects. How about tomorrow? How about the day after tomorrow? In the context of Poland, Europe, and in the global context. Poland is considered a key country in the region. Of course, it's also a key country for its citizens. And from such point of view, this observation is incredibly important to define the perspectives of the feeling of security, the possibilities that we might take advantage of or not. You will be not only the spectators, I hope you will also be participants of this meeting. And now I'd like to invite Mr. President of the Warsaw Stock Exchange, Mr. Maciejewski, Adam Maciejewski. I also invite Mr. Jack Ewing, my colleague from International New York Times. Everything's changing in the world. International Herald Tribune changed its long-lasting name for International New York Times. It also changed its partners. It's New York Times only today. And I would also like to invite two very eminent politicians and co-presidents of our conference, Mr. Europe, Mr. Günther Verheugen, and I would also invite a person who, I don't need to present him, it's Jan Krzysztof Bielecki. Please, I'd like to invite you to the stage. And I'm very sorry for the fact that there is no women here on the stage. It's not related to sexism.
Now, Mr. President of the Warsaw Stock Exchange.
Dzień dobry Państwu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. Andrzej Jonas introduced and gave a warm welcome to all of you. And let me continue his words. I must tell you sincerely that I'm so happy that because we have a stage here. I don't know what's going to happen on this stage. I can predict that. We're not going to entertain here. We're going to have a serious debate. And now going on with the serious things. Today we are supposed to talk about the Warsaw Economic Hub. Warsaw Economic Hub, let me tell that again. An economic hub is not identical to financial hub, and many people present here are related to the financial market, me too. So at the very beginning, I would like to ask you an open question. What does a financial center mean? What's the definition of financial center, financial hub? How the financial hubs are perceived? And I'd like to give you 5 characteristic features that I've noted down. So first of all, it's the business environment. Business environment are the regulatory burdens, effectiveness, simpleness, stability, and predictability of regulations, and also the environment in which we function. The second thing related to business environment is the taxation system, the level of taxes, stability of the tax system, and transparency and predictability of the tax system. Third area are people, human resources, availability of highly educated people, mobility and flexibility. As far as mobility is concerned, it's going better gradually in Poland. Thing number 4, infrastructure, and I mean transport infrastructure, ports, highways, and also teleinformatic infrastructure, which is gaining importance. And the last thing is the reputation. I'd like to to draw your attention to reputation. What is reputation? Quality of life, security, a way of promoting the city, and we're going to comment that today, and the quality of management by local authorities. So, ladies and gentlemen, in order to to construct a hub, an economic hub or a financial hub, you need to really want to do it. You need to have this objective and systematically act in order to achieve that objective. You also need to cooperate. And this is of vital importance, cooperation. And I must say that we, in general, as a society, will lack those skills, and I think it would be good to commend that also today. And the last thing we need to have, if we want to build a financial or economic hub, is the capacity of long-term thinking and carrying out those long-term objectives. And at the very end, we need to have faith. We need to believe that it's going to happen. And talking about faith, let me finish with a quotation of Leopold Tyrmand about Warsaw, words full of faith. And let me quote, "I believe there is no other city in the world as the Warsaw smells, the Warsaw sentiments and feelings. So don't tell me about Paris or Vienna. We know what Warsaw is. We know what Warsaw Spring can be. Well, we have still some months to spring. However, I wish you a very nice and joyful day. Andrzej or Jack, it's your turn."
I'll be very brief, but I just wanted to welcome everybody on the behalf of the International New York Times. As Andre mentioned, in October, we changed our name from the International Herald Tribune. I was sort of sad to see the International Herald Tribune name go away, but the rationale was that the New York Times is investing a lot now in its foreign coverage and its international coverage, and they came to the conclusion that the International New York Times, the New York Times brand, was stronger worldwide. I think for those of you who are readers, if I can just to take a moment to speak about my own organization, for those of you who are readers, it should result in better coverage and also better coverage of this region of the world, because we are hiring more reporters and putting more resources into that kind of coverage. I'd just like to thank the Warsaw Voice and the Warsaw Stock Exchange for inviting me to participate again. It's always a great pleasure to come here. I learn a lot. I'm based in Frankfurt, so I spend a lot of time writing about how lousy the European economy is. So it's always a pleasure to come to Poland, which has a pretty good economy, has continued to grow through this crisis, well managed. And I always enjoy that, although I wouldn't object if we had this conference in the summer one year. But so with that, I'll just say we have a great list of guests, and once again, thank you for having me, and I'll look forward to the conference today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who can't remember that, last year after our conference, Jack published in his newspaper a very critical, very comprehensive and very optimistic article on the Polish economy. So this is one of the reasons why our conference has a numerous representation of economic organizations. And now Prime Minister Bielecki. Just a few words. Good morning. Just a second ago, Andrzej Jonas said that I'm not supposed to say anything because there is a panel with 14 speakers, and at that moment, possibly I could tell something, but there is a change. And if you know who holds the microphone holds also the power. So I'm gonna tell you a few words, and let me start like this. 14 years ago, I believe, when I worked in the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, I had a Dutch colleague, and he was a professional diplomat. However, he changed his profession and was a banker, and he produced a dictionary of absurd bank jargon, very often used. And one of the words very known would be "I would be brief." That was used by Andrzej. If somebody says "I will be brief," well, it means 15 minutes of speech. Well, this time it turned out that the dictionary did not work because the speech was really short. So just to be brief, let me tell like this, and I've already told that to Commissioner Verheugen, that Polish economy is doing well, and I am convinced that November will be a very positive surprise to all of us. Now, our economy will go 150 BPS above the German economy, and the German economy also has its positive plans for the following year. So we are constructing fundaments in order to still have opportunities for growth in the prospect of the following years. And as far as I understand, a discussion is needed about further actions that we need to undertake. And I know that in the afternoon session, there will be a discussion on the development of the financial market or business services in general, usługi biznesowe in Polish, as we try to call it. And this is quite an interesting market because it developed, as I can say, in conspiracy without any help, any European Union programs, anything. And at the moment, it employs over 100,000 employees. And as far as I remember, the Polish automotive sector employs 170,000 people. And at the same time, it's a sector that still is able to create more jobs, more advanced jobs that require more competences, which is really important. So thanks to the development of this sector of business services, we can gradually go from back office to the middle office. And as we all know, in middle office, we are getting paid the double. However, you also need to know twice as much. And I think this is a correct direction. If the regulatory bodies and the supervisors of capital market in Poland follow this change, well, this will be another proof of an interesting development of our market here in Poland. So I understand that the conference will be very intensively debating that issues. So good luck to all of you, because it's really an interesting topic. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, as normally I'm not a good host, I haven't welcomed all the people I should have welcomed. So a warm welcome once again to all of you. And let me tell you an anecdote. Prime Minister Bielecki, Warsaw Voice Krzesło Roku, the Chair of the Year, he was granted the award. He, according to the plan, the Prime